Good morning, everyone. It's Tom Sidney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Sight Club and from the Tom Numbers Show. And I've got my good buddy, Mr. Jetson White. Jetson, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm great, sir. How are you?
Yeah, very good. It's good to see you again, buddy. We're gonna do a few things today. Jetson's got a few questions for me, but then the majority of the show we're going to go through, which is what made Jetson famous in the community, is his wonderful time travel series, but also how he came about on that. He's got some key things he wants to talk about, which are your gazebo experience, John G. Trump, and then what was the third part?
Q plus.
Q plus. Okay, so this is going to be a fantastic episode. So I encourage you, wherever you're watching from, is to watch all the way through to the end, and then we'll put a link up for Jetson's time travel series as well. So continue to watch onto that. And people can find you on Jetson White on YouTube. So subscribe to Jetson's channel. You can find me here on Sight Club and on the Tom Numbers Show. So I have the two channels. Do like and share and subscribe, particularly double click to get all the notifications, and just check if you are subscribed, just check that you still are. Sometimes we need to double check, if you understand what I'm saying. And also as well, people that Jetson's a big fan of 107. Obviously I am, I do the shows with him. So we did a great show yesterday with Matt Letitia and Rachel from Right Side Blonde. Subscribe to Rachel on YouTube as well. You'll see Juan's links. You'll see Jennifer Mack. She's done a beautiful painting of President Trump. There's a link on that as well on the Juan video. And there's also Matt Letitia's links. He's on Getter and Twitter. But that show is on the Tom Numbers Show. So if you just type in the Tom Numbers Show on YouTube, you'll find that. So that's my second channel, but that's the current top video on there. So go to that as well afterwards. And then you'll see links for Telegram and Rumble, etc., all the others. And also I'm going to say this as well. So my buddy Mark Atwood, he's got a retreat in Morocco, which is coming up, and he's going to be doing stargazing, and it's a luxury experience. That's happening in November. I put the link below, so do click it if you're interested. It's a luxury tour, but it's well worth doing it. So people that are interested, you can find the information and sign up there. So without further ado, Jetson, let's get going. You've got a few questions for me, and then we're going to go into the meat of the episode, which will be all about time travel. And time travel, for those that don't know, is 125 dark to light. So you've got dark to light, and 125 is John Kennedy, and 125 is time travel, and 125 is also 8th Avenue, where the Tesla Hotel exists in Manhattan. So, buddy, you got a few questions. Far away.
Well, first of all, you brought up something during your intro that I didn't know. Did you say that Jennifer Mack did a painting of President Trump?
She's done a painting of President Trump as the matador, as the bullfighter.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic. Okay, yeah. Great. All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, check it out. So, Jennifer, if you're listening, we're talking about the great painting, so it's on there, and the link will be below as well. So, yeah. And when you go to the one show that we did, which is on the Tom Numbers Show, you've got all the links there with Juan's most recent book coming out, The Storm, and the next one is Jennifer's link to the painting. So we encourage people to go and have a look. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. All right, I did have a few questions for you, Tom.
All right, buddy.
First of all, I'm curious, what's your process for deciding who you want to ask on your show?
So I'm open to anyone from any kind of topic or area, but obviously we have a core theme of, the Great Awakening, President Trump, Kennedy's Q, and helping people get more information and more understanding about that. So they're the people I tend to do shows with. And obviously, if someone's got a popular show that is helpful for my channel is a popular show, which I'm very grateful for. So that helps whoever I'm doing the show with. That helps. Obviously, that's just, being brutally honest, and people would expect that. President Trump is brutally honest and, tells the truth. So we should do that, which we do anyway. But also, I'm not adverse to having new people on the show. I do get emails from people, and sometimes I just can't get back to all the emails that I get. I'm grateful for them, but I try my best. I do really need an assistant, but maybe 3 of me would be good. But I do sometimes do shows with people that don't have a channel, and they wanted to get going. So it's not an open invitation to bombard me with lots of emails. So please, because I get that a lot, and I just can't always facilitate that. There's only so amount of time in the day, and also we have to Jetson will know this, doing a channel basically is a full-time job. You know, I love it. It's a labor of love, but it's a full-time thing. So I'm either recording, getting edits done on it, putting out the videos, monitoring it, sending it out. So it's a full-time gig. But for example, so Rachel Right So Blonde, she found me. I guess I found her. We connected. We got on. But she did have a gift in terms of the numbers. So she was seeing the numbers. So we had a correlation and an understanding there. And I said, we've got to get you going. So we spoke about it a few times, and eventually I managed to kind of gently persuade her to do so. She created her channel, Right So Blonde. I got her on my show. People joined. They started following her, and then she started to do the George collection as well, which is George magazines, and now people know her as Rachel Right So Blonde. So I'm not adverse to that either. But I will say, it definitely helps if you've already got your stuff going. Because I did a video when I started, I just stepped into the dark. I did a video. I didn't know who was going to watch it, and then I met a peer group in England, the Red Squirrels, people like Jack Kidd and Charlie Ward, and it grew from there. But I did step out into the darkness, because some people do approach and say, "Hey, I've got this, and I want to be on your." Really, just being brutally honest, if you step out and you start doing your own stuff, people will find you, your audience, and then you'll start to grow. It's not really a kind of a YouTube service of, we'll get your channel going. I don't know, maybe something like that we might offer in the future. I don't know, but that's not the core of it. So that's being stripped naked, telling you exactly how and why, etc. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that answers the questions.
Totally. And Right Side Blonde, that's a brilliant name for a channel. And of course, Rachel is a keeper.
Yeah, Rachel's great, and she had some information and feels that this could be correct, that she used to be a journalist in previous lives, and so she's always wanted to do that. And Rachel Numbers comes to 139. I nickname her that sometimes. Rachel Numbers. That's 139, and that's journalist. The word journalist. So it seems like it's the case, So
right,
yeah.
Right, fantastic. Okay, let's see. You recently did a show with Juan, and he's been out promoting the date of October 29th as when he feels like something's going to come to a head. And all the people that I've watched that have had him on, he's mentioned that there will be a role for our military at some point within this situation that's going to come up. And personally, I think he's referred to the 11.7 Law of War procedures regarding public military involvement. And so I was just wondering if you, I didn't watch the entire show. So did you ever pinpoint what on that to get some more information about that from him?
Say that from which show was it that you were saying on?
The latest one. Well, you've done two very recent ones. I know you didn't pinpoint him in the one you did a couple of days ago, but the one you did yesterday, that you put out yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. So this is maybe, I don't know, over the last couple of weeks, he's spoken a little bit to me about, I think he said this, he's in kind of, I think I've spoken about it a bit as well, and I think he's been saying it publicly, but my understanding is that he feels there's some kind of something. He basically says, because I've said this before, so he basically says October 29th, he's got a lot of markers on it. I think he said he's got 40, maybe 41 plus markers on that date. And he says it will either happen and it'll be very clear for everyone, or it won't. So it's kind of either or, which sounds simplistic, but he believes he has a lot of evidence for October 29th, and it will be very clear, or nothing will happen. That's what he said. And I get the impression from what he's saying is that it will be something American based. I get the feeling from what he's been saying, probably a military of some description, and that will be probably part of the obvious optics of it. But it'll be a thing that basically, I guess, a theatre, a drama, an event or events, a period of time, maybe for a few weeks, maybe a couple to a few weeks, and where the world is looking in on America, on this thing that's happening. And that's what he's basically said to me. And I think he said that a few times on other channels as well. So that's as much as I understand by what he's saying. So we'll see. One thing that is interesting about this, and I have mentioned this before, but since you brought it up, Jetson, so remember I was talking about Judgment Day quite a lot. The word Judgment Day is 129. But if you drop the E, which it looks like it's happened on this timeline the red, is they dropped the E and taken it to 124, which is gigawatts, New Jersey. But 129 is Judgment Day with the two E's, JUDGEMENT. There is another version of spelling that, apparently kind of, I think, legal English, but the one that most commonly, that from what my perspective, was always 129 Judgment Day with the two E's. But if you look at October 29 and do the gematria the way that one likes to do it, dropping the zeros, 10 is October 29, so 10, 29, and you drop the 0, you're left with 129.
All right.
So maybe there's that as well. You know, that's a possibility. I've just discovered something with this.
Oh, good.
No. Well, I have, but it's not quite, it's not as, so, yeah, and October 29th, let's have a look. That day of the year would be,
Saturday, is that what you're looking for?
yeah, the day of the year of that would be.
In what number?
It would be 302. That's another one. Interesting. So someone put this up on a channel, and so President Trump was, I think there's a Q post about 302, and then 302 is that day of the year. October 29th is 302. But apparently he said a word or a phrase that came to 203, and it was a mirror reflection. So maybe, I don't know, I haven't looked at the Q post for a while. I just see the ones that kind of people do their codes and it gets sent through. But 302 could correspond to October 29th, could do, because that's the day of the year that it falls on. So hopefully that adds a little bit more possible insight into it. Yeah.
Jolly good. Good. All right, so I'm ready to get started on the topic of time travel.
Here we go.
All right, so I want to.
So this is how me and Jetson became friends. So I fell in love with your time travel series, the original. I know you've added a lot of things.
I know,
but I feel a bit like Star Wars. So Star Wars is 119, and I'm here at my buddy's home in Utah, and he's got a great cinema. Big screen, well, big TV screen, but it's like going to the movies. So the last few nights I've been able to watch A New Hope, Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and you know, they're movies I fell in love with as a kid, and particularly Return of the Jedi, because that was the first kind of one I saw at the cinema. And then Star Wars, and then I'd say Empire. A lot of people love Empire, but I'd say that's probably my least of the three.
Oh,
but
really?
I still just like it. Yeah, people. I just have this affinity to Return of the Jedi and Star Wars. And obviously, you know, Empire is part of it as well. But 119 is Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla is intrinsic in all this time travel. So I remember I was at a dinner, a Red Squirrels dinner in England with Jack Kidd and a host of others. David Mahoney was there. And we were having a dinner at this luxury place out in Norfolk. This was the summer of 2020. So we had this kind of banquet dinner. And I remember that evening, I was watching your time travel series, so I either discovered it that night, or I know I was watching it in the apartment part that I was staying in. I'd either found you maybe earlier that day, but I was watching it, and I basically watched hours and hours of it. So I was at this banquet dinner, but then I just couldn't take my eyes off of this wonderful series of golden truth that you'd produced. And then I kept saying, Jetson, you know, I'd message, and then eventually started to message. And then eventually we got to talk, and you know, the future's history, or the history is, you know, the future, however I want to say it. So that's how it happened. So I always encourage people to watch it. But I was saying about Star Wars, I feel your original one is like the original Star Wars series, and then it got, you know, but there's necessary pieces in it. But I love it as a piece of work. So thanks again, buddy. You greatly enhanced my appreciation and understanding, and the appreciation and possibility of time travel. So
right. Great. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. All right. So to start out, I want to share that yesterday morning.
Sorry, buddy. One other thing.
Yeah.
Jetson White is 148. 148 is simple gematria. The numbers I do: A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. The order of the alphabet. Donald J. Trump is 148. Time traveler, the American way to spell it with one L, is also 148. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future, who invented time travel, was also 148, and Jetson Light is 148, and he's the time travel king in the Truther movement. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out.
Wow. Okay, so speaking of gematria, yesterday morning I woke up and I saw a white rope, kind of like a piece of rope with a knot in it. And I heard the words white boat rope. So I did the gematria on that, and it was 157. And guess what else is 157? Tesla time machine.
It is, you're right. Wow. Yeah.
So white boat rope was a message saying Tesla time machine. So that was
wow. That's also Brooklyn Bridge.
All right.
And it's also Trump is king. But Tesla time machine, I love that. That's incredible.
Yes.
Tesla reversal, so England reversal. Wow.
Right. It was so fitting. Yeah, I mean, we were actually going to do this show yesterday, and then you were not able to. So, it was like that morning I woke up with that Tesla time machine message.
So the phrase again, what white rope?
White boat rope, like BOAT, boat.
White boat rope. Okay. That will come up for sure, yeah.
So I wanted to preface what I'm going to talk about with something you actually asked me, Tom, the very first time we got on Zoom together, about over a year ago, actually. And I told you about this, what I call the gazebo experience. And so in the summer of 2018, I had what I call the gazebo experience. And this was before I knew anything about John Titor. And I did know more than most about Nikola Tesla, but I was still in the data gathering phase with most everything that my channel is about now. So that morning I went out to the gazebo like I did every morning, and I found myself pacing in a circle and talking out loud and literally amazing myself because of what was coming out of my mouth. And and I was using terms I was familiar with, like particle acceleration and angular momentum, because I'd learned those while studying with Nassim Harameyn's information. But I'd never associated those terms with time travel. And I somehow knew that what I was talking about, what was coming out of my mouth, was about time travel.
Right.
All right. So I wish I could recall more of what I was saying that morning, but I do have a very distinct memory of getting to a point where I could actually see a device in my mind's eye. And then after seeing it, I remember saying out loud with all earnestness, okay, here's this device, but what would you put it in to use it? So of course, when the obvious answer became clear, it was more than just realizing what to put the device in. It was that hard slap in the face that the elite group who was controlling the media was telling us everything, but in the most devious ways, so that if anyone did discover the truth, they'd be laughed right out of the realm,
Mm-hmm.
So that was, a double whammy. So, but those people that I just mentioned, they weren't expecting the 17th letter project. And what that project did, in my opinion, was to open up the minds of enough people like you, Tom, so that real, honest to gosh truth could finally be released and believed by a large group of people for the first time ever, really, in the history of this world.
Wow, so, Jetson, that's beautiful. You just said 17th letter. So 17th, so 17 plus the TH takes you to 45, 45th president.
Woo.
And the letter is 80, which comes to Spencer, as in Diana Spencer. If you do Diana Spencer, it comes to 109, which spells the word 17. But just doing it the way one way that you've said it is 17th, 17, TH, 45, 45th president. Also, that's spade, as in the top card in the deck of cards. It's also effect. But 45 plus 80 So 17th letter comes to 125, which is time travel, which is John Kennedy.
Wow. Absolutely amazing time numbers.
Thank you, Jetson White, time traveler 148.
All right, so now I want to delve a bit into John G. Trump, who we all know was Donald Trump's uncle.
Yes.
But most don't understand that he was not only a contemporary of Nikola Tesla's, but he was in college at the time when Nikola Tesla was living in downtown New York, and probably even when he was living in the New Yorker, at least part of that time.
Yeah.
So where John Trump was going to school was 2 miles away from the New Yorker, by the way. So when you follow John G. Trump's college timeline, you see many things that I'd call miraculous. For example, after meeting Tesla in 1927 and switching his major from electrical engineering to physics, John G. Trump was in need of a mentor within the academic arena in order to write his doctoral thesis. And Robert van de Graaff, who invented that Van de Graaff generator that so many people have, had their hair stand up when they touch it. He was a pioneer in particle acceleration at that time. And he just happened to arrive at MIT, where John G. was about to write his thesis, at the exact moment that John G. needed him. So I think that was extremely serendipitous. So why am I so certain that John G. met Tesla in 1927? And that's because that's the year Tesla's groundbreaking paper that was called World System of Wireless Transmission of Energy came out in all the major science publications. So when that paper came out, Tesla was 71 and John G. was 20. And I believe the two men met and had a secret friendship and partnership that continued until Tesla's death in 1943 at age 86. They kept their friendship and partnership a secret because I also believe that John G. was made the guardian of Tesla's paperwork long before the FBI showed up at the New Yorker hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the FBI got squat. So, and one more thing I want to point out is that you can't die penniless while renting 2 rooms in the New Yorker hotel. Tesla had plenty of money throughout his life, both from patents and from working for Westinghouse and RCA. So everything you've ever heard from them about him is a out and out lie, as if they were talking about Trump. If they're talking about Tesla, think of how they talk about Trump. They just make stuff up. He wasn't some kind of, freak who couldn't step on cracks or, had to do everything in threes. He went through a period of that in his early childhood, and he talks about it in his biography, but he grew out of that. He wasn't, spending his life all the time thinking, well, I got to do everything in threes and blah. It's just crazy stuff. All right. So more details about John.
Just one number that's come up, Jetson. So John Trump equals 135, which comes to Ivana Trump, 135.
Trump's wife, Ivana.
Yeah, who just passed, but I don't think she really passed. But she's now buried apparently at the. So this is interesting in terms of Back to the Future and time travel. So Ivana, who passed on July 14th, actually my buddy here, that's his birthday. So that's Bastille Day, French Revolution. France is 47, John, so you got a connection there. But she's now laid to rest at the Bedminster, New Jersey golf property. Bedminster, New Jersey comes to 233 John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Follow the White Rabbit, The 10 Days of Darkness, Gold-Backed Digital Currency. And also that property used to be owned by John DeLorean.
Right.
John DeLorean is the time travel car. Well, DeLorean's a time travel car in Back to the Future, but lo and behold, President Trump owns that property now.
Right.
Just a coincidence. Bedminster's 109, which is Diana Spencer. It's the Pruder. It's the Word 17. It's Sight Club, my channel. Next Saturday night, we're going Back to the Future. The word trillion is a large number. President Trump uses a lot. That's also 109. But also, Ivanka, President Trump and Ivana's daughter, she was actually born Ivana Trump.
Really?
Yeah, she was Ivana Trump, but then she's grown up with the name Ivanka Trump. Ivanka takes you to 146, which is New Jerusalem. Truth Social, interesting enough. So we know President Trump loves Ivanka, and many of us do, but Ivanka Trump 146, Truth Social, New Jerusalem. But if you do her full name, that comes to Ivanka Marie Trump, which is 192, which is also a place in the harbor in New York. So it's Governor's Island. And Steve Bannon and a gentleman from the good Chinese Republic, the new country that they're setting up, gave a speech right in front of Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty comes to President Trump. President Trump comes to 198, the resurrection. Maybe there'll be another President Trump. They talk about Ivanka in The Simpsons being president in 2028. Anyway, going back to John G. Trump. So John Trump is 135. Stock Exchange, Ivana Trump. And there's two Ivanas, Ivanka and Ivana. But then if you add the G, that's a 7, that takes you to 142, which comes to I am Nikola Tesla. So that's interesting. But then I just looked up what his name is, the G. Do you know what the G stands for? It stands for George.
Right.
There's George Magazine, which is 57, England's 57, but Tesla is 57. So it's John Tesla Trump, John George Trump. And guess what that comes to? 192. 192 comes to Ivanka Marie Trump. It comes to Governor's Island. And if I'd done the full numbers on John George Trump, it was ages ago, I'd forgotten them, but that might have been the first time I've done that. But I knew I am Nikola Tesla comes to 142, John G. Trump, but I didn't know, or it's like discovering it from new if I did. I didn't know that it was 192, which is Governor's Island, which is Ivanka Marie Trump. And John Trump is Ivana Trump 135. And we know that Ivanka was born Ivana Trump. So you can see how all this keeps circumventing back around.
You just come full circle with it.
Yeah, and you have to travel at 88 miles per hour. And 88 is Trump. And I put this on Telegram, but I got a picture with Eric Trump just 3 weeks ago now, Jetson. And Eric Trump comes to 123, which comes to silver plus gold. But it comes to the word 88 if you spell it out.
Nice.
It comes to Abraham Lincoln. And I did the full phrase, and I'm wearing my 88 MPH, which is 125 time travel John Kennedy. But if I spelt the full word out, 88 miles per hour, it equals 282, which equals transition to greatness, but also equals Eric Trump and Tom Numbers. So I saw that. Actually, I've got it. I'll show you the picture. So this will make more sense to what I'm talking about. So here it is. There we go.
You're good at that, getting those photo ops. Oh man, look at that. Woo! I love that shirt, Tom, too.
Thanks, buddy. But isn't that strange? I'm wearing the 88 miles per hour t-shirt with him, and then I get the picture, and you spell it out fully.
Right.
Eric Trump equals. I'll have to do it here. I'll pull it up. Right. I'll pull up the full thing so you can see the numbers for it. That's just crazy, but that's the world we live in, which I think, it's incredible. So there you go. There we go. You can just see it there. So you see, can you read that? Is that clear enough?
Eric Trump and Tom Numbers equals 282. Is that right?
That's right.
88 miles per hour equals 282. Boom! Love it. And
you got the t-shirt, 88 MPH, which is 125 time travel. So that's just how it works. It's just a beautiful time to be alive. So, I get this as well. So I just discovered this one. So can you see it below? Thank you, Tom Numbers.
Yes. And it equals 282 or 281.
Thank you, Tom. Numbers comes to 261. You see it?
Oh, 261. All right.
261 and 261 comes to August 29th, the Judgment Day number in Terminator 2.
Right.
Terminator 2 is 135. John Trump.
Okay. John Trump. All right.
John Trump is 135. Terminator 2. Ivana Trump, 135. Terminator 2. Terminator is 133 plus the 2, so it was 135. But 261 is also November 22nd, which is the date of JFK, and also the date of Diana, August 31st, when she passed.
Really?
Also
Really?
261, yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're so evil.
Yeah. And it also, you remember the bloodline families are from both sides. So you've got the 13 bloodline families, but you've also got some good ones in there, like the Kennedys and the Trumps. But the 13 bloodline families comes to 261. So 13 bloodline families comes to 261, which I figured out, I think, with one yesterday. Anyway, what I'm saying is all of this is divinely all connected, and we can see it dark to light, that's all we can see. So
right.
Sorry, buddy. So continue. I wanted to just share those on John G. Trump. So please continue with him. Yes.
Well, that leads right into what I was going to, one thing I was going to say. It's some gematria from the actual Trump time travel video. There's a scene in there where we show an interview that John G. Trump gave in his later years about, his telling these stories that
he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing that it exists. I was so, pumped up when I found it. But at one point, he's talking about something, and he's talking about Van de Graaff, who was doing some crazy things or something. And he goes, and he says in parentheses, crazy things, when actually what would have been the proper thing to say there was in quotations, right? So I thought, well, he did that on purpose. So I went and put in parentheses into the calculator. And the Jewish response was fate of humans equals 537, just like in parentheses does. And also just the word energy equals 537 in the Jewish gematria.
Did you get the simple English version as well?
No, I didn't. I must not have seen. These are from my old notes. I must not have seen anything interesting in the simple. Okay. But I'm going to say it again. In parentheses equals 537 in the Jewish, as does fate of humans, and just the word energy. Interesting.
You talk about energy. So in simple gematria, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. It comes to 74 energy.
Okay, good. Oh, that there's a bunch of words with that in it.
Jesus comes to 74.
Yeah.
DeLorean comes to 74. Gematria comes to 74. English comes to 74. London comes to 74. Messiah for the Jews comes to 74. Muhammad for the Muslims comes to 74. And Jesus 74. And Yeshua, you're like this. So Y''SHUA, Yeshua, comes to 74 as well.
All right.
And it's a mirror reflection of John, which is 47.
Right. Well, back to 74. Also, hexagon is 74, which is a geometric shape that
wow.
I notice everywhere. Wow. Also, the word gematria itself is 74.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
As well as the 3 forms of gematria that the gematria sites use: Jewish, English, and simple. All 3 of those words are 74.
Jewish is 74.
Yes.
Brilliant, buddy. Wow. And if you do simple gematria, simple is 74, gematria 74, comes to 148, Jetson White. Time traveler.
Oh my gosh, fantastic.
148. Donald J. Trump, 148.
Yep.
Emmett Brown, 148. And if you do simple English gematria, it comes to 74 plus 74 plus 74, which comes to 222, 1,000 years of peace, which comes to Winter White House.
Nice.
And it comes to Wyndham, New Yorker, because Wyndham owned the New Yorker Hotel, Wyndham, New Yorker, and they've got a sign, Wyndham, New Yorker, 222.
Well, ever since you pointed out that Wyndham Wyndham equals 88, did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay. Trump. Yeah.
And ever since you pointed out that the New Yorker is a Wyndham, every time I've been traveling, last couple of months, and every time I stayed at a hotel that was Wyndham, I was like, it was going along with this 88 thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I love it.
Brilliant.
You are making life more interesting for so many people, Mr. Numbers.
Thank you, buddy. So are you, Jetson White, simple gematria 148.
All right. So
talking of an 88, if people look on my, I think I can pull this up. So when I met Ivanka Trump,
you got that photo.
I think she activated me for the numbers, but I sent this to a friend.
Wow, that's an interesting thing to say. It did just drop into a comment.
She did, yeah. Well, my cousin Paul had just died. I've talked about Paul, and he's part of the numbers for me. And the first number I recognised was 118, which is the storm. 118, 11 times 8 is 88. 118, the storm, the awakening, the matrix, the blackout, the silver, all of those things. But he just died. But after I met Ivanka, I met a couple of girls with the same date of birth, and another one in England. One of them actually might be 119.
As your cousin, right?
Yeah, but his date of birth was 118. It was January 18th. But I was there was a friend of mine back home. And so have a look at this, Jetson.
All right.
So the picture I use is the one I sent to my friend back home when I sent a picture of her. I said, look, I just met with Ivanka Trump. And the girl that I know was 169, which is my name, 169. But you see up there, can you see the battery percentage?
So you got the battery percentage in the photo.
The battery percentage is in the photo.
Oh,
it's 88%. And this was taken, screenshot was taken years ago. And so I took the picture, then I did a screenshot. I sent it to my friend, and then I kept it as a screenshot, and that's the one I always used. But I didn't know that until the numbers had come along. But 88% is 81, which is Tiffany, which is Tower. 88% or 88, 81 is 169, Thomas Bushnell. My friend back home who I sent it to, she's from Czech, and the Trumps are half Czech, and she's 169. So we had the identical numbers, first and last name. And Tiffany Trump is 169, and Trump Tower is 169. The Great Awakening 169. So all those things are there, and also, what's his name? Robert Zemeckis, the director of Back to the Future, 169.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So 88% is that, and there's a 55 in the picture as well, which is a golden 55. Golden is Tesla. 55 is Heaven, is JFK Jr., and it's Melania. So he had all these codes in this picture. Anyway,
Wow.
And you'll like this one. So me and Rachel, Rachel drew my attention to this because she met him. She went to a Trump rally just about a month ago, and she met a guy called.
She went on September 3rd.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. Yeah. So she met on that day. So something very important did happen. So she met a guy who basically looks like he's Junior.
I know.
Yeah.
She was right next to him. And that's one of the things that after I get done, as soon as I can, I'm going to get back to that. We're really going through that 9-3 rally, Tom, and we're just going to pick it apart because he said so many coded messages in that. And if you do ever get the time from all your busy things, you need to watch my latest video because it explains what did happen on that day. Okay,
I'll have to make some time to do that.
All right.
And talking of the guy, so his name is Edward X Young, and he said X is Xavier, like Professor Charles Xavier. We've been saying we need a school for the for the truthers to come and like recommune, and that would be wonderful. But Edward is 55, which is JFK Jr. I have the 55 in this picture. But 50 and so anyway, Edward X Young comes to 161, and the numbers in this picture I just showed of Ivanka. So I have the 55. Ivanka's 58, not in age obviously, but her name 58, which is a Nasara. Robin, as in Batman and Robin, because Batman is 51 Jasara, adding together the 109, which is 17. And then me, 48 Tom, but you add them together, 55, 58 plus 48, it comes to 161. And his code, his name is 161, which is Edward X Young.
Mhm.
which is
Wow.
again, it's like, and then Janine, she did a reading to confirm that he was Junior as well. So there's a lot of things, and he sounds like
so
him, and he looks like him.
You're saying that this chap, the gray-haired chap who with the green hat,
with the green cap, took off the glasses and said,
right.
yeah.
You're saying his name, he's saying his name is Edward X something?
Yeah, his name is Edward X Young.
Young,
yeah.
Okay, well, see, I didn't know that. This is fantastic. Thank you.
And X as in Xavier. So he's making a point saying he's Xavier. And I thought it was like Charles Xavier. Because I've been saying to Rachel, wouldn't it be wonderful if we can have a place where we can actually meet him and others and be tutored and kind of upgraded further? And I think he's given a shout out to that something like that will happen in the future.
I think beyond a shadow of a doubt that chap is JFK Jr. How he looks right now without any disguise on. But I also think that 107 is that same chap. Because see, 107 didn't used to go to rallies. And now we hear him talking about, well, I was in that rally. He was at that rally on 9/3. He'll tell you in his shows that he did prior to the rally that he, and after that.
He has been going to rallies.
Rally. He was there without his disguise on.
Yeah.
Because I think he wears like face pads and stuff. And of course, a big padded belly and all that. Even
I won't say too much on it with Juan, but I will say this.
No,
it's all right. But the thing is, I think he's allowing us to kind of see that now. But I will say this. He did say this on a show a few weeks ago with me and Rachel. He talked about shared identity, and I was like, that's enough said. Thank you. So there's Juan, I believe, and I also believe sometimes. Well, I say, I do more than I did. Because I've met Juan a few times, met him, but I believe there's a very high probability that sometimes Junior can play Juan and others sometimes. I think that's what they're telling us. I might be wrong, but it feels like that from I've met Juan, who doesn't get photographed. I've met him a number of times. I know what he looks like, and he's my buddy, and I love him. But I do believe there's sometimes, because he said it came out from Juan's mouth, he said shared identity. And I was like, that's a big clue. And he also talked about Zuckerberg, how there's been about maybe 16 people playing him, different actors and all sorts. So he was telling us that this masking thing's on. And I said in that same show, I said, so that means if this is going on the dark side, then that means on the good side. And he just went, yep. Now the key is when I hit a key point with Juan, he'll just go, yep. And then that's it. And so what I'm saying is, I believe what you're saying is the case, but I think so. Juan is a real guy, but I believe that he plays. I think they have dual citizenship.
Well, getting back to Edward.
Anyway, we won't. I think that's fair enough to say. I don't think Juan will mind that, because he said it on the shows, and I have never. Yeah, but I think that might add a little bit more light to the puzzle. But this other guy, Xavier, and I believe that Junior probably has been playing many characters.
Right.
He liked being an actor, and I think he's having a lot of fun with it. And he loves it when his kids, his spiritual kind of, truth of kids are trying to figure it out, and he loves it. And I had a massive smile from the one that I thought was perhaps Junior at Vegas. And I could feel kind of, and I get that from the other one as well, but I felt there was something there. So
good. Wow. That's, that would be, hopefully that will all come out into the open before this is all over.
I think it will. It's all part of the movie. It's like, so this is it. So Juan always says, we're in very serious times. This is serious. And then they'll say, no, we're serious. And then he'll say within the same sentence, enjoy the show. And so just work that out, people, Yeah,
no, it's
work that out. If we're in super serious times, enjoy the show. When President Trump said he's drained the swamp, and I do believe that white hats are in control of everything. But we do have a job to do, and to get as many people across the goal line and help the world wake up. And that's what your role is. That's what my role is. That's what Rachel's. That's what Juan's role is. Juan's doing that. He's waking people up and doing other things, and that's what we have to continue to do. But God's got this. God wins, and white hats are in control. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go now into Q Plus and show behind the scenes of how in control.
Do you have any more detail on John G. Trump? I might have cut you off earlier there on that.
The Trump time travel miracle video goes into more detail, and I thought I would just point people to that if they wanted more.
Okay. Do you have maybe a couple of highlights in regards to just to whet their appetite so they can go and look at that particular episode, Jetson?
Well, it's more evidence that he and Tesla work together. That's very compelling. And also that he, everything in there is just more evidence. I don't want to name it because I'm hoping they'll go and watch my video, Tom.
They will. Yeah, one other piece of, I think you'll like this, Jetson. Right. So I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Derek Johnson, who's the military coder, who's just kind of burst onto the scene in the last 5 or 6 weeks. And I've spent, a week with him. I've got to know him well, and he's a great guy. And his numbers actually come to 138, Donald Trump. And his favorite piece of Trump's executive orders is 138-48. 48 is Tom, 138 is Donald Trump, 138 is Derek Johnson. So he loved that when we did that. And Mark Atwood said, "What's the numbers on Derek?" And I did it. And anyway, so he loved that. But Derek told me that this is public knowledge. So we're not bursting the bank on it. This is public knowledge. There's on the .gov website, I think it is. I forget the link. Joe did send it to me, but he said there's over 19,000 people in the US in witness protection program.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he said they have maybe up to like 3 to 4, 5 or 6 people at any given time watching them. So you think of that, if there's 19,000 plus people and they've all got 3 to say 6 people covering them, that's a big operation. That's a big operation. Right. And if they're in witness protection, so things like changed identity, masks, all these other things, good disguises is going on, but it's there in the government. It's there. They're telling us. And obviously, well, Derek knows about it. He told me about it, but that you can look it up. It's in, I'll have to find the link, but it's there on the, on the .gov or the US.gov. It's there. They talk about it. It's an actual thing. It's a real thing. So when people say, "Oh, no, this is not," it's the case. It's there. And so therefore, if people are able to be disguised in witness protection, then that means also people doing great military operations, doing Q operations, can be disguised, and this is now coming out more and more. And I talk about it as well, witness protection. Sean Hannity did a show with President Trump on the phone about a year to maybe 18 months ago. Sean Hannity, I believe, was prepped and told to mention witness protection. He brought it up twice in that interview with President Trump on the phone. So they wanted people to know it. The other thing about witness protection is 244 is also the address of Mount Rushmore, 244, which is witness protection. President Trump's father, who was Frederick Christ Trump, comes to 244. And Christ is 77, which is power, which is Hertz. Kennedy had Hertz above the book depository when that event took place in November 22nd, 63, on a Friday. Friday is 11/63. But also, if you do this, Jetson, and talking of Tesla, 369, the Tesla numbers, the day after JFK passed was Saturday, November 23rd. That comes to 369. Time travel over back in England, the BBC series Doctor Who came out, which was about time travel, came out on that day, the day after. But 369 comes to time travel witness protection, 369. And it also comes to John Kennedy witness protection, 369.
Well, I've already told you how I feel about that, but all right. Jolly good.
Well, none of us know everything. I'm just always exploring everything. But I think they're important numbers to make out. But in terms of the witness protection, there's a proper program that's mentioned in the US government website, so people can research that themselves,
Right. Well,
anyway, you're going to go to Q+.
Right. So Q+, that's also a topic brought up in the Trump time travel series. So first, I believe that the man that God gifted with knowing how to harness torsion field energy, which is 369, for time travel, would have used his discovery for the benefit of humanity.
Sorry, Jetson. Let's pause 1 second. John Titor comes to 129 Judgment Day.
Oh, sweet.
There you go. Which is October 29. October /0. So anyway, sorry, buddy. Please continue.
Okay, good. October 29. So I'm going to say that again, that I believe that the man whom God gifted with knowing how to harness torsion field energy for time travel would have used his discovery for the benefit of humanity. And that man, of course, is Nikola Tesla. And though that one version of Tesla was allowed to die in our timeline, I believe he'd already gone back in time and brought back a younger version of himself that would live on into our current time period. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm right about this, this means that the White Hats have full use of Tesla's time travel technology under his supervision. And when I say White Hats, I'm speaking specifically of both the 17 team and the top military intelligence personnel that Juan is always calling the guys in Cheyenne Mountain.
Mm.
All right, so let's skip right into the Q plus theory presented in my Trump time travel series. The theory was born from being shown multiple older versions of President Trump. First, right in the 8chan post, and then by Trump himself using his Twitter banner. Then also American Prophet Channel was airing these pictures of an older Trump. And Dan Scavino has also included at least one in his tweets. I don't have a Twitter or Telegram accounts. I just, these things are handed to me on a silver platter and I get to see them. So 3 of these older versions of Trump are shown in my Trump time travel series. They're featured in there. Like here's this picture of him. Here's this picture of him. Here's this picture of him, each one. Mm-hmm. But a 4th has been spotted this year, again, thanks to American Prophet Channel. And he was sitting directly behind Trump at an event that Trump was speaking at. So there are, in my opinion, there are 4 different versions of what I call Q plus. And let's say that each of these versions is known internally as Q plus number 1, Q plus number 2, Q plus number 3, etc. And doesn't that sound just like a James Bond script?
Yeah, it does.
All right. So how could the White Hats benefit from using Trump as a time traveler? Now, Juan has told us that the 17 team's location is Cheyenne Mountain. And I believe this is where Nikola Tesla is, and that he's
told us that. Okay.
Yeah. He's been running the time travel operations from this Cheyenne Mountain base.
Wow.
Here's how it could work. At an appointed time, after Trump was fully read in on everything going on, he was sent 1 day into the past to retrieve Q plus number 1. Is that clear? He's basically getting himself from yesterday, and then and he becomes Q plus number 1. They bring him into our timeline. All right?
Huh.
That makes sense?
He just goes back 1 day in time.
Right, because that person, that version of Trump would have been read in on everything. They don't have to brief him. They can send him immediately for his mission.
Okay.
All right?
And why is it just 1 day?
Because, like I said, you don't want to go far back because he needs to know everything that Trump knows.
Okay. So basically, he's duplicating himself by going back 1 day.
Right.
Okay.
So Q plus number 1 was then sent 1 day into the future.
Ah,
And that puts him into an ever so slightly different timeline. However, the intel he has is still completely relevant, because if you know anything about John Titor, he came from 2036 into our timeline, and it was like, 1% off from his, and that was enough to where everything that he knew would still be in place. Like it was still his grandfather that was involved in helping design the 5100 computer that he came to get. His parents still lived at the same place. It was, he was seeing himself as a 2-year-old playing in the what are those things called? They put playpen, whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The crib thing.
Yeah.
So 1% is not enough to whack things out. You could still be intel that you had could still be completely relevant in that much of a shift. All right. So they took him from the day before, Q plus number 1. They sent him 1 day into the future,
which gives him obviously a slight edge.
right? Well, it what it does is it keeps him out of this timeline, so that he's not, because they're going to do this more than once. They need each of these ones to be in their own separate timeline.
Yeah. So he's protected, but he's totally relevant as well.
Right. Okay. So Q plus number 1 would then lived out 25 years in that slightly different future timeline to gather intel. He lived 25 years into the future to gather intel. He lived inside Cheyenne Mountain. He wasn't out and about being a real estate mogul. He was Trump with all the knowledge that Trump has, but he was living inside in Cheyenne Mountain because his assignment was to become a subject matter expert on one topic. So whatever that topic was, as he lived out his 25 years inside Cheyenne Mountain, top military intelligence were feeding him information on that one subject. Is that clear?
Yes. And so what do you believe the one subject was?
Well, it could be different things. Like one might have the subject of military strategies, including Space Force operations. Another one might have political strategies, based on the environment as it changes and shifts.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now, if you're up to speed, if you've been watching my channel at all and you're up to speed on how time travel works, you understand that no matter how long the traveler is gone, they've only been gone for 1 second in the timeline they left from.
Yeah.
So when Q plus number 1's 25 years were up, he was sent back to our timeline. And when he returned to Cheyenne Mountain 1 second later, he was placed under strict white hat protection, witness protection, and began showing up at various Trump events where he could easily be seen by those with eyes to see. And the first place he was seen was with the QAnon baby. Trump went on and on and on about, look at that beautiful baby. And when you look right past that baby, you're going to see Q plus number 1 right in the front row, and 2, I call them Secret Service agents, but whatever they are, they're his protectors, right on either side of him. And that was our first sighting of a Q plus, and it was right in the 8chan post.
Wow.
With the baby up front and him in the background. Okay, so before I go on, I must give a shout out to the American Prophet channel, because he was the first to post images of these older versions of Trump, which got me, those gears turning about, because I was already studying about time travel. And I said, oh, how did these older versions get here? And I started, putting those pieces together. So, that chap, American Prophet, he knows something. He's some type of insider. So at this point, I've been able to spot 4 versions of the older Q plus who are back from the future, which means the same procedure I just described has been used at least 3 more times since the first one I was talking about, the QAnon baby one. So perhaps Q plus came back as an expert on military strategies. Q plus number 2 came back as an expert on political strategies. Q plus number 3 came back as an expert on financial strategies, things like this. And when they came back a second later, they gave their information directly to the 17 team there inside Cheyenne Mountain 1 second after being sent into the future. So now it makes sense how the 17 posts were always 5 steps ahead and were able to say future proves past.
Wow. That's incredible, Jetson.
Okay. So also, one more thing. Most will agree that there's at least one extra current version of Trump who appears to be coexisting alongside him in our timeline. And
Yes.
that was done the same way, only they just allowed him to stay here in this timeline. And I say that because I want to make it very clear that there are no clones of our president. No clones were made of our president. That type of activity is not condoned by our creator. And the White Hat team does everything according to the rule of law and God's law.
Yeah, I've been feeling, well, I've seen it for a long time that there's at least 2 Trumps. I like to call him POTUS and real Donald Trump, but one's got kind of smiley downward eyes and one's got kind of smiley upward eyes. But you can see both of them 30 plus years ago doing interviews and.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's also doing the classic misspeak 30 plus years ago. And I'm going to put this out to people. So somewhere along the line, I've seen a video of Donald Trump basically saying when he was a young man that he would save the world and just watch. And I'm paraphrasing it, but for the life of me, I haven't been able to find that video again. And I don't know if I saw this early lockdown or in a few years prior, I think. But if anyone's got it, please post it or email it to me because it's somewhere. And he says it as a young man being interviewed, probably in his 35, 40, and he's saying to words to this effect that he's going to save the world and just watch. And I can't find the video, but I've seen him say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how that is when you've seen something and you didn't mark it, and it's like, oh, I can't get it back now because they've done so much.
But with all of our with all of our extended family of Sight Club and Jetson White followers and Tom Numbers followers,
right.
Someone out there, I'm sure, can find that video because I think it needs to do the rounds again, and maybe the time is right for it to do the rounds again. I don't know if it was suppressed for a bit or where it is, but if someone out there knows where it is and knows what I'm on about. So if they can please email it to welcome.to.psych.club@gmail.com, psych, PSYCH. That'd be great. And my email's on both of my channels on the about page, so you can see it there. But that'd be awesome. Email it if you would. You put it in the comments, but definitely email so I'll see it. Because sometimes I miss the comments, but definitely email. It's incredible, buddy. It's amazing. And Cheyenne, so you spent some time down in Colorado, if I remember rightly. Is that right?
I did. I was in Fort Collins at the time, and that's when I realized a few things too, because of where I was right next to Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And that's when I started saying, oh, well, why would they call, if Cheyenne Mountain's entrance is in Colorado Springs, why would they call this Cheyenne Mountain? Because I think there's an exit out there somewhere in Cheyenne.
A good point.
But it's also, I noted in, what video was it? In the lead up to the rapture, when I'm talking about the CERN testing that was going on that turned the skies green. And I said, Dune also turned the skies green in South Dakota. You can also do it, like you can go Colorado Springs to Cheyenne and then just take a slight jut over and you'll go to Dune, where Dune is, and it's
Yeah.
all in, you know.
I
you
did
can
it.
all-
I did all that just literally. So I know Colorado Springs as well, Garden of the Gods. Interesting enough, the Cheyenne Mountains 186, which comes to Galactic Federation. Oh no, the Galactic Federation. People get confused on terminology, or maybe I'm using the. But anyway, that comes to 186. But Colorado Springs comes to 185. Donald John Trump. So that seems appropriate that there, and Tesla was there obviously historically. It seems appropriate about Cheyenne, and apparently that was locked up on 315, and 315 comes to the transition to greatness, which President Trump always talks about.
Right.
It also comes to 88 miles per hour magic.
Oh,
or Don 88 miles per hour. That comes to 315. All of those things. But Cheyenne Mountain, that's it. Yeah, and it's literally from Colorado Springs through Denver right up to the top to Cheyenne Mountain. It's like, I don't know, 300-mile plus drive, and then just over to the side into Dakota. You've got Devil's Tower. The Devil's Tower comes to 185. Donald John Trump. It comes to Colorado Springs, but then you got Mount Rushmore. I did a couple of videos, one in a helicopter around there. Even get this, so the Ingersoll Lockwood books, time travel books.
Yeah.
The Ingersoll mine is right next to Mount Rushmore. That comes to 185. Donald John Trump again, which comes to Colorado Springs, which comes to the Devil's Tower 185.
Wow.
Which is Book of Revelation. Biblically, Book of Revelation is 185. The Silver Reset, the Global Financial Reset, Global Financial Reset is 185. All of these things. But that's beautiful, Jetson. It makes me want to go down to Cheyenne Mountain. Probably won't get in.
Well, you have literally been all over the U.S. lately. I mean,
yeah.
Is there any place you haven't been?
Oh, there's still lots more I haven't been, but I've definitely been blessed to see some places for sure. It's been magical, and it will continue to be so. There'll be other places I'll be going to, and I'm here in Utah. People like this. I'm here in Utah, so Utah's 50, which is Donald. Paul, Eileen, personally, for the numbers for me. But America's 50, which is Utah. Salt Lake City is 138, which is Donald Trump. Roseanne Barr grew up in Salt Lake. Her mum lives out this way. I was texting with her yesterday. And, it just continues. It's just amazing, Right. It's just amazing. Even the phrase, the Book of Mormon, it's behind a religion, but it's also that play. It's become very prominent in the last 10, 15 years. But there's a reason for that, because the word 88 is Trump, which is Mormon. And it's saying, I love the Book of Mormon, but I love the Book of Mormon is 185, Donald John Trump. This, the number's powerful. So what the current state of that is right now, I've spoken about it before, so we won't go into that. But I think intrinsically had some good things. But everywhere I go in America, I see Donald Trump's numbers, and I see them all over the place in England as well. We're in Trump's world. You've got Wayne's World, you've got Wayne's Tower in Batman, and then you got Trump Tower, and they all kind of come back round, Trump's world. I did that ages ago with Charlie. But what else have we got on? Any more on the Q Plus? I mean, that was beautiful the way you put that. I think that's really incredible, and it makes a lot more sense about Back to the Future. The way you've put, it's like one day back and then one day forward. That's really very cool. Very cool.
Right. The only thing I had left, nothing else more about Q Plus. But you do want to watch the series, because that's where you can see all the photos of them. But there is one other type of time travel that one calls divine time travel.
Yes.
That's because, in my opinion, that's because it makes use of angelic twin stars that can become stargates. At least for us, the angels don't need to use this, but if you're going to be transporting humans, you're going to need stargates. And stargate time tunneling is what I'm saying is the form of time travel that will be used to rescue the human race from this horrifically corrupt and completely infiltrated matrix during the rapture event.
Wow. You said Q baby Anon.
Yeah.
Or Q Anon baby. So
baby.
yeah, so Q baby just is 47 John.
Yeah.
Anon is 44, but so Q Anon baby or Q baby Anon is 91, which is future, which is liberty, which is Space Force,
91.
POTUS, and it's Stargate.
I know, I've got a whole
The
list
father's
of
91, so
91.
Q baby Anon is 91.
Let's see, 91. You've got Starseed, you've got Who is Q, you've got Flat Earth, you've got Stargate, Space Force, Mirror, the word mirror, Avengers, Buckle Up.
Is Avengers 91?
Yes.
Wow.
Also Buckle Up, God Wins, and Liberty.
Liberty, yeah.
Oh, and also the word future itself is 91.
Yeah, future is 91, yeah.
Did you already say that? I missed.
Yeah, the father is 91.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a really powerful one. Lots of
the
cool
Nasara.
work.
Wow.
Okay.
You talk about Avengers, Jetson. So Avengers. So my buddy, I'm staying with, he's been getting the numbers. You know, I've been doing some for him, and anyway, he brought up Guardians of the Galaxy. He just brought it up. Can't remember how we got to that. And I was like, hang on, I think that's your number. And I looked it up, and Stuart Matthews is Stuart's 99, Patriot, Ascension, Spider-Man, one of the Avengers, is 99. And then Matthews with an S is the 119, Nikola Tesla Redemption Foundation, Mary Magdalene, Central Park. And I added those together, and it came to 218, which comes to Guardians of the Galaxy. And he was chuffed with that. He went, yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
Really enjoy that. And I'm thinking, imagine, this is how my brain works sometimes. Like, imagine if people I've known have been parts of, you know, things like Guardians of the Galaxy. And maybe you are, Jetson, I don't know. You're definitely special. And I'm like, maybe my buddy, Stu, because he's a great person. He's got a really good soul. And you can tell it when you meet him. He's pure. And maybe I've been privileged and lucky enough to have great people hidden in plain sight in my lifetime. And who knows? But the numbers confirm it for him. And he's just been a wonderful friend, and I love him. And Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is where we go 218. John Fitzgerald, wow. John F. Kennedy Jr. is 218. Talking of Statue of Liberty that we spoke about a little earlier, with John G. Trump being John George Trump is 192, Governor's Island 192, and that focal point with Steve Bannon, 131 Steve Bannon, John F. Kennedy, and then the gentleman from the Chinese Republic, the new one, the Federation, whatever they're called, talked about 1,000 years of peace in that address. And you've got Statue of Liberty behind you, 198, which is Resurrection, which is President Trump. So the full name for the Statue of Liberty, talking of liberty, 91 POTUS, 91 Avengers, 91 Space Force,
right,
91 Future, 91 Stargate, Buckle Up, 91 is it's actually called Liberty Enlightening the World, and that comes to 320, which comes to John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., the full spelling, 320.
Wow.
And when I was at the event that I met Eric Trump at, I went to Clay Clark's event with his friend Aaron Antis. I was there with Gene Ho and Rachel and others, and it was great. And just at the actual side of the stage, it's a big proper stage at this Speedway rally place in Idaho near Coeur d'Alene, just near Post Falls, just on the border before you get to Washington, which is Spokane. Anyway, it's a lovely part of the world up there, particularly Coeur d'Alene. But the actual number they had on the stage, on the studio set of the big stage set, was 320. And I saw that. I was like, that's Liberty Enlightening the World. That's John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., 320, right there. Boom. So I don't know if John was there occasionally on that. He might have been. But I saw it. I was like, that's it. That's his number.
What did you say 192 was? Because I've got some really good ones for that.
So 192 comes to Ivanka Marie Trump. 192 comes to Governor's Island, which is one of the
Governor's
islands
Island.
just off of the hut. So you can see 185 World Trade Center, Donald John Trump, and you can see 198 Statue of Liberty, which is President Trump, which is the resurrection. So Governor's Island is 192, but it's also John George Trump, which is John G. Trump. So his full name is 192. So give us some 192s. Yeah.
All right. I've got some. I'm typing in John George Trump to add to the list. First of all, time manipulation is 192.
Really?
And Great Tribulation is 192. And it's going to be biblical is 192.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I forgot that one. Yeah. But the other ones I didn't know. So time manipulation and Great Tribulation, 192.
Right.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I loved adding John George Trump to that little list. Yes.
Yeah. John George Trump is 192.
Yeah, that's
and
fantastic.
John Trump is 135, which is Ivana Trump 135, Terminator 2 135, and Ivanka was born Ivana Trump.
Nice. Yes.
Also, across there's another 192. So you've got the further up. You've got the set. What's it called? The Sesmilio. Oh, I can't remember not Sesmilio. That's not the right word. There's a bridge. Let me get it for you.
Right.
There's a bridge in the harbour, and that's 192 as well. But you had the full version, and it's 254. 254 is September 11th, the day of September 11th. No, not the one. Yeah, hang on. I need to pull this up on a map. Let me see if I can pull this up. My battery's on 88% right now. It just went to 87.
No way. Oh my gosh.
It went from Trump to truth to justice to junior. Right, let me go into New York. Let me just see. There's a name on this bridge because it's quite long. It's quite a complex bridge. Complex is 88 Trump, but here we go. Where is it? So here we go. So it's this bridge here. There's the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. There's either a 192 in there, but there's definitely a 254, which is September 11th, the day of September 11th in the year. Is the 254th day of the year, which comes to 1,000 years apiece is 254. Yeah, but definitely Governor's Island, which where that video was filmed, is 192. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, Governor's, there it is, buddy. So Governor's Island is there, and look at the name of the road you got there. You see the freeway next to it. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in.
I can't see the freeway. I didn't know quite where to look for it.
The Governor's Island and then the freeway. I don't know if people can see that. I'm not sure how clear that is as a picture.
You mean the number of the freeway?
Yes.
I can't quite make it out. It's too small.
There you go. Just there. I think people might get it. It's 478. 447 is John and 78 is Kennedy. So John Kennedy, 125 time travel.
All right.
So everything has been coded, buddy. Everything.
Right.
Everything has, which is just incredible,
Well, God, God is the one that invented numbers.
Yeah. Well, if you add up all the numbers, A plus B plus C, all the way through to Z26, it comes to 351. 351 comes to God communication numbers.
Yeah, right,
and it comes to Jesus Christ is the English alphabet. And there's about another 20 kind of powerful statements like that.
Amazing. Absolutely. Yes.
So, and New York, where the New Yorker is. So get this, New Yorker Hotel.
Yep. Is
194, which comes to September 11th, which comes to 1955. And in Back to the Future, Emmett Brown says, he says November 5th, which is 143, which comes to Melania Trump, which comes to Building 7, which comes to Ground Zero, comes to my cousin Paul Bushnell. It comes to Kryptonian, 143. But it says November 5th, 1955 is when I invented time travel, which comes to 337, which comes to Thomas Sidney Bushnell numbers. So people don't really call me that, but Thomas Sidney Bushnell is my full name plus my nickname numbers, comes to 337, which comes to November 5th, 1955. But in 1955, it's come to someone personally to me, 194, their name is very important. But 194 comes to 1955 in Back to the Future, and it also comes to September 11th. So he's also saying about the time travel element, he's saying that November 5th, which is 143, which is ground zero, building 7, and he's saying 1955, which is 194, which is New Yorker Hotel, which is also September 11th. So he's also saying ground zero or building 7, September 11th. He's making a point of that. It's making a point, and that's when he discovered time travel. So I'm wondering, I'm sure there's many, many more threads that we don't know, but your whole thing of going back a day, going forward a day, I think there's a lot of stuff that was done around that date, and I think we'll see the future proves past on that in some way as time goes on.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Well, I need to get off, so.
Yeah, you need to get off. Go on, off you go.
Well, get on with yourself. Go on.
Go on, then off you go. And I must say, I like your new haircut, Jetson. It suits you very well.
It's great, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. 345. Yeah. All right, my buddy. Well, it's been really a pleasure. And just tell people again, just tell them where they can find all the time travel series. Just tell them. Oh,
right now. Okay. We'll see, it's all being put into one big long video now. So it's a feature-length film of 1 hour and 4 minutes. And you can find it both on my Jetson White YouTube channel and my Jetson White Rumble channel.
Excellent. Did you say 1 hour and 4 minutes as a film? Is that what you said?
It's a film. It's a feature-length.
So it's a movie, yeah? A movie.
Right. And I'm actually going to be re-releasing it sometime, sometime early in November with a few little tweaks that will make it even more solid.
Excellent. Well, you said it's a movie now, a film, a feature, a movie. So 104 equals, so it's 1 hour and 4, but 104 equals Jerusalem equals 14. But if you do 1 hour, which is 60 minutes, plus the 4 minutes, that's 64. And the word movie equals 64. So nice. That's cool, buddy. Tenet and Jubilee and Israel, that's 64. So excellent. Jubilee. All right, my man. Well, and also click the links below. Click if you would. I get about half of my viewers, and I'm grateful for all of them. But if you could do us a favor, double click the subscription on Site Club and on the Tom Numbers Show. Do that for Jetson. Do that for Rachel. And go over to the Tom Numbers Show to watch the recent one with Juan. That's on the other channel, but you'll see that, and see us on Telegram and everywhere else, and go to Mark's retreat in Morocco. Jetson, it's been a pleasure, buddy. We'll do it again soon, and God bless you. Thank you for all the work you do, buddy. And if you are one of the special team of Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy, I appreciate your work.
God bless you, Tom.
Thanks, buddy. See you, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.